old boy. So perhaps you'll ask the lovely Mrs. Quest to get a room ready for me, and when I get down there, if I don't tell all the old respectables a thing or two about their beloved lawyer, and generally make them sit up and see stars, why, I ain't I. And now there's the straight tip for you from your affectionate Tiger. But remember, she'd always rather purr than growl. It's only when the cash don't come down that her back goes up. All a question of money, my boy, like everything else in this wicked world. Your beloved Edith. By the time Mr. Quest had finished reading this precious effusion, the cold sweat was standing in beads on his forehead. Great heavens, this woman will destroy me. What a devil! And she'd be as good as her word unless I found her the money. I must go up to town at once. I wonder how she got that idea into her head. It makes me shudder to think of such a thing. And he dropped his face upon his hands and groaned in the bitterness of his heart. It is hard, he thought to himself. Here I have for years and years been striving and toiling and labouring to become a respectable and respected member of society, and always this old folly haunts my steps and drags me down, and by heaven, I believe that it will destroy me after all. With a sigh he lifted his head, and taking a sheet of paper wrote on it, I have received your letter and will come and see you tomorrow or the next day. This letter he placed in an envelope which he directed to the high-sounding name of Mrs. d'Aubigne, Stanley Street, Pimlico, and put it in his pocket. Then with another sigh he took up the Squire's letter and glanced through it. Its length was considerable, but in substance it announced his acceptance of the arrangement proposed by Mr. Edward Cossey, and requested that he would prepare the necessary deeds to be submitted to his lawyers. Mr. Quest read the letter absently enough and threw it down with a little laugh. What a queer world it is, he said to himself, and what a ludicrous side it has to it all. Here is Cossey advancing money to get hold over Ida de la Molle, whom he means to marry if he can, and who is probably playing her own hand. Here is Bella madly in love with Cossey, who will break her heart. Here I am in love with Bella, who hates me, and playing everybody's game in order to advance my own, and become a venerated member of society I am superior to. Here is the Squire blundering about like a walrus in a horse pond, and fancying everything is being conducted for his sole advantage, and that all the world revolves around Honham Castle. And then here at the end of the chain is this female harpy, Edith Jones, otherwise d'Aubigne, alias the Tiger, gnawing at my vitals and holding my fortunes in her hand. Bah! It is a queer world and full of combinations, but the worst of it is that, plot as we will, the solution of them does not rest with us. No, not with us. End of chapter 14.